Following Biosphere 2's 2 human inhabitant experiments, efforts to replicate Earth's complex ecological systems in a way which could sustain life were pronounced unattainable. But in another sense, Biosphere 2 has become a success story by redefining its mission.
The challenge to us was, well, what can we do with this facility that would really bring science to the biosphere?
Well, my main focus is ecological management, and that deals with the effects of man on ecosystems. And in here, this is a wonderful laboratory to look at all the issues, or many of the issues, and just the fact that it's scaled down means that man's impact is actually more because of the scaling down.
It's a window into the future. We actually can take this apparatus behind us and set it at an elevated CO2 level and actually see how plants and animals behave differently under the different atmospheric conditions, and can actually measure what scientists predict. Maybe in 20 years we have a double of the CO2. We can actually see here right now what effect will this have, which plants will grow faster, which agricultural crop will be the winner of the future. Some agricultural crops produce much more yields under elevated CO2 than others. Others become more drought resistant, others don't like it at all and wither under these conditions. So the whole agricultural methods of cultivation of plants will change, in my opinion, over the next 20 to 50 years. And we have here a chance to somewhat helping to predict the future.
You know, the really unique thing about the Biosphere 2 is that we have a closed system. And we can actually measure all the components that contribute to the carbon cycle, so that we can measure not only photosynthesis, we can measure soil respiration, and we can understand all the different components.
The carbon cycle is one of Earth's most important ecological processes. It is the process by which carbon, the essential element in all organisms, circulates through the air, plants, animals, and soil.
When you look at the budget in some kind of total picture, there is a large portion that nobody knows where it goes, but seeing that it's not going into the ocean, we collectively think of this as the terrestrial missing sink. We want to get into our program closing a carbon budget, and therefore we would understand where all the carbon comes from, where it all goes to, and we can actually do a complete budget. It would be very difficult to do that outside of a closed system. We think that that's our primary advantage.
Trees play an important role in the carbon cycle. They absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and release oxygen. Because carbon is incorporated into the tissue of trees as they grow, forests act as a carbon sink. The continuing loss of both temperate and tropical forests contributes to the high CO2 levels in our atmosphere.
So we have an ability to put into that agricultural area a full plantation of cottonwoods. Now, why cottonwoods, you might ask? Well, if you've been following the Kyoto Accords, not only did they talk about things like CO2 emissions, but they also talked about trade-offs in which they would create sinks for CO2, places where CO2 could be sequestered. And, of course, if that was your goal, then you would want to sequester a lot as quickly as possible. These hybrid poplars are literally amazing in their growth rates, 15 to 20 feet in a year. They have tremendous capabilities as far as structural timber. I mean, it machines well, it works well for construction. And there is a large emphasis to use these hybrid poplar plantations as a place for CO2 sequestration. We think that we're contributing to something much larger and very, very exciting. What we think that we can do in a very dynamic way is to have literally education from the K through 12 through undergraduate work that we've already gotten started here to having graduate studies and research projects. We already have postdoc studies, and we also have a very significant public outreach education program. We are telling people and showing people some of the important results that come from the biosphere. We would like to create some public awareness of the importance of basic research, and we think that we can reach out and touch people and get them a little bit more excited about environmental issues than they may naturally be. There is no active constituency lobbying Congress for basic research. Certainly, if there is a National Rifle Association, perhaps we can do something along the lines of a National Environmental Association, or basic research in all different arenas that are very necessary.